Slide now.
To the court clerk, attorneys of record, and plaintiffs, please take notice of this request, and we respectfully urge the court request to allow defendants to retain counsel due to my disability with narcolepsy. Narcolepsy does not allow me to meet the court's expectations to timely file. It is only until this morning, very morning, did former Deputy City Attorney Walter Benjamin Carabian, number 246372, arrive back at X today. We request a short continuance to allow him time to file a substitution of attorney. Due to the complex nature of our case, defendants struggled to find representation. Furthermore, we contend that plaintiffs have unclean hands, and it is acting in bad faith that precludes defendant from fair proceedings on multiple occasions. We contend that plaintiff's counsel has repeatedly acted with unethical misconduct during the proceedings with unclean hands, illegal reduction of services, tampering with records. We believe counsel Pelez has a brother or family insider working in the city department, HCIDLA, and we are prepared to show admissible evidentiary proof. Pelez's office has sent malware to tenants on multiple occasions, and it is a cause for a delay in having a completed trial binder because it completely caused the computer failure. I emailed plaintiff's counsel notifying her of the setback, and I quoted, "My computer crashed last week, delaying all the evidence sharing, all thanks to a computer virus that caused my machine to stall forever. With the spinning wheel of death, this took me since last Friday to resolve, but the computer is still in bad shape. I had to reinstall this operating system, set up new users, export all docs and files, and uninstall all applications, and still I can barely run the thing. My tech, whom I gave the job to repair the disk, ran it through a virus scanner, and it apparently came from your office. When I opened your last email, it caused my second computer to stall altogether again. Check your systems. It is sending malware. Whether done intentionally or inadvertently by your office or by your client's organization, this was the cause of the delay. I only make this claim because this is not the first time I have had my network attacked during these proceedings. Respectfully, I urge the court to consider these circumstances. Narcolepsy is not well known, but it is a truly debilitating autoimmune disorder that eventually leads to Parkinson's or other serious damage to the brain if not properly treated. Currently, I am meeting up with Project Sleep to take on my case. I have been trying my hardest to file and share evidence, even with these above stated limitations imposed by the other party. I acquired counsel to assist me in asserting my rights. The reason this case is complex and requires the assistance of counsel is for the following summary. This is a residential forcible detainer action filed on April 1st, 2020 for the premises located at 1410 Union Street, Los Angeles, California, 90026.
I contend that this house is actually 1411 Houston Street, but for the record, let's just go forward.
Yeah. Plaintiff filed this action alleging a forcible detainer by defendants. This forcible detainer action arises from false claims wherein plaintiff concocted a series of several and separate events that they themselves instigated, contorted the facts to ruse a theater of elements to meet the cause of action, and ultimately deprive defendants of their right to their property. In the process, plaintiff has resorted to constructive eviction tactics.
Well, you can't be evicted from a house that you own on your own with no mortgage.
With filing false papers with the court, inflicting emotional duress, attempting break-ins, forcibly entering and detaining the lower property 1968 Avon, performing illegal construction defects, acquiring title and permits by theft, by false pretenses, willful manipulation of
Slow down, man. Tell it as it is, but slow down.
Yeah. Performing illegal construction defects, acquiring title,
such as
the concrete patchwork on the ties around the building, and putting.
They use concrete patch material to fix a crack around the top that would facilitate a supposed finished product, right?
Yeah.
The place was vacated because it was ready for demolition.
The only reason it could not get demolished is because it's part of it was holding up the retaining wall that it also failed, that they also attempted to repair, but did it without any permits or engineers.
And the permits were denied for demolition in 2016, even though they were going to do a hand demolish on them, because the Bureau of Engineers discovered that it would be detrimental to the hillside, to our house that we live in,
and other neighbors
on the left and right, if you got rid of the retaining wall and the house at the same time, you would be
Mhm.
destabilizing the hillside. And if you worked on them without the Bureau of Engineers, you'd be destabilizing the hillside. And if you built up new cement work and used jackhammers to go 14 feet below the earth, you'd be destabilizing the hillside, especially without permits, especially while doing cement work that's not contracted or with a licensed contractor.
Mhm.
Contractor's license has been revoked the entire time he's been here for
Mhm.
fraud, for the failure to pay state insurance compensation fund on his employees that he won't recognize, that he then takes $100,000 worth of PPP loan money to pay, supposedly, even though he has 0 employees.
Mhm.
That's a little fishy. 14 employees, 0 employees, $100,000. If you have 14 employees and you take out $100,000, what do you pay your employees per hour?
It's like under $7.
14 people make 100 grand. Okay, Google, what is 100,000 divided by 14?
100,000 divided by 14 is approximately 7,142.86.
Okay, Google, $7,422 divided by 365 is?
$7,422 is approximately 6,241 euros and 43 cents.
Okay, Google, $7,000 divided by 365 days is what? Okay, Google, 7,000 divided by 365. That's $19 a day to live on. Hey.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That's
Really?
$19 a day to live on if you worked at, so if you made $7,000 a year, which is what 14 people would make if there was $100,000 to pay their salary total.
Damn, that's insane.
So you'd be paying them the equivalent of $20 a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing the math a little shy on the. They could be, rounding up, but for the most part here, we're saying $25 or less a day per employee. That's what you call human labor traffic.
You said it.
And when you're human labor trafficking, you're against the community, you're against humanity, you're basically equivalent to Hitler. You work for Church of Scientology as a mass manipulation of people's psychology.
Specifically minority groups?
Specifically minority groups that don't speak English very well, who are vulnerable and working in hard immigrant labor,
don't necessarily
doing gardening, and you train them to be contractors, supposedly, and then you use them for violence to threaten homeowners of their own land, and then willfully intimidate them.
Specifically elderly people or their family members who just died.
And these contractors that were gardeners the week before that you've employed, they'll do anything for that $20. They literally will do anything each and every single day. They don't give a shit. They will come and work even though it's no contractor's license, day in and day out, because that's what they do, and no one else will take that. No one else will take that job, and say they need to take that job because somebody has to take that money. And so we can't even stop them from developing our property because the contractor has found a gray area in which people will fill the need because there's money to be made. And so our house will be defrauded with or without the consent of us doing anything about it, because there's a mass group of people who will trample over us on our land, physically break over our fence, tear it down every day, day in and day out, using a tractor, using multiple people, using many tools, unlock the doors that we have locked, take down the fences that we have built, uninstall the chain links that we have put up, take down the signs that we've installed, and illegally dominate our house through willful intimidation and destruction and wanton destroying of the fen, the environmentally protected tree, the Mexican elderberry. We are here to help the community. We have been, and they have even destroyed the sidewalk, that was handicap accessible and the ramp entrance that needed a little bit of cracks to be filled, but now there's no sidewalk at all.
Yeah,
Now there's
illegal
no
dumping.
now there's no ramp at all, and there's been over 4 or 5 pile driver incidents that have come in and just blasted the hill full of illegal dumping from dumpster trucks they bring in and dump onto this land that they've gotten a pool permit for that they used to supposedly build a pool, and then they cancel the pool permit after they dig the hole, dump all of the waste from their other construction site just around the corner at 1620 Avalon and 1620 Lemoyne, and then 1639 Landa, and then Wyota and 4848 Aldama. And they'll bring all these hillsides from other neighborhoods to our hillside at Ewing Street at the base of it, where they supposedly bought a piece of land, 1958 Avon, which, for the record, the land they do purchase was going to transact with another owner. And for some reason, the escrow crashes, which is engineered by a failure to get fire alarms, and that's sort of insanity. Like, who doesn't have fire alarms when they're selling a house, and who doesn't sign the notice that says, I forego my requirements because the new owner is taking responsibility on their own full accord and awareness of my liability being waived, that they take responsibility and liability for this. So how would you crash that? Well, Ken Shapiro had been planning on stalling the sale of this property for as long as he humanly could to line up with the foreclosure of our property by 180 days, not knowing that COVID was about to happen. And so our house would have been a 1031 tax deferred exchange made in heaven for him. He could have engineered the transfer of one property for another property on the cycle that he likes, and had it done through him and Joyce Essex and his daughter and his son-in-law. And then, worst case scenario, he could bring in Joshua Marginson if he had to. But it only became necessary because they ended up in bankruptcy proceedings for Resourceful Construction due to the lack of being honest and paying their employees, right? We were started off with this. So they don't pay their employees, so they get busted by the U.S. State Insurance Compensation Fund. They're not U.S., the State Insurance Compensation Fund, for lack of payment of compensation insurance. Hey, Jackalope. Hey.
Yes, I'm here.
Honey.
Yes.
Sleepy.
Sorry.
No, you're.
I'm here.
So my wife is not a junkie, and that's embarrassing. If you thought so, you should be ashamed of yourself. She has idiopathic hypersomnolescence, narcolepsy type 2, probably some of the worst in the world. She's a damn smart woman. She knows what she's doing. But right now, sleepy time emerges. Yeah, right. You're awake. You say you're awake. But then in a minute, you're talking to me about whatever. Somebody will catch it eventually. Right now, I just sound like a jackass, probably. But give it 5 minutes, and you will see I'm not crazy. She's crazy. We're crazy. That's why I have power of attorney, and she has power of attorney over each other. I have power of attorney over her. She has power of attorney over me because I'm bipolar 2, and she's narcolepsy, idiopathic hypersomnolescence type 2.
Well, yeah, I actually had a little more to say.
Yeah, please go on.
Sorry.
Thank you.
And it says, thank you. In the process, plaintiff has resorted to constructive eviction tactics, filing false papers with the court, inflicting emotional duress, attempting break-ins, forcibly entering and detaining the lower property, performing illegal construction defects, acquiring title and permits by theft, by false pretenses, or willful manipulating information, and ultimately wasting the court's resources. And a list of what they've done are construction eviction, attempted break-in, impersonation of a landlord.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, false claims, false police reports,
So
harassment, stalking, forcible detention.
slow down. Let's go over them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have incidents.
Yeah, harassment, stalking, forcible detainer, forcible entry, rent scheme.
Physical incidents happen for each one of these things you mentioned. For everything you mentioned, an actual incident occurs.
Yeah, so this is like a
that we have MOUs to go with each and every single incident, and if you want to go over them, we will go over them in detail, and that will be very excruciating, and we will probably need to do that in about 5 minutes, Jackalo.
Yeah.
So go over each one slowly.
Yeah, these ones are our table of contents, and then we'll go to each one. So construction defects. I already said that. Damage to property and nuisance.
That's where the mic is.
Yeah, damages resulting in emotional and psychological duress, increased anxiety causing distress, ulcers, loss of work contract with television series, loss of time shared with family, loss of property, 1968 Avon, interrupted education, interrupted nonprofit mission goals, costs, personal injury to spine.
Yeah, because why is your spine personally injured?
Yeah, because of a fall.
And you're affected because your back hurts or not?
Yeah.
And is getting worse or better?
I think worse.
And certain days are
worse.
Certain days are better or worse?
Depends on the temperature. But yes.
The temperature?
Mm-hmm.
What does temperature have to do with it?
It hurts more in the cold.
Why does it hurt more in the cold?
I don't know, bones.
Where did you hit?
It was like I scraped my back, and that caused like it.
What happened?
When I fell down.
What did you fall into?
A trapdoor.
How far?
Like 14 feet. I was definitely under.
You just fell straight down?
Mm-hmm.
And you landed on your feet?
Kind of. On on one ankle.
Without bending your knees?
Yeah, it was like a jittering.
You just fell straight down.
Yeah.
And you scratched your way down.
Mm-hmm. I got pictures of it.
And how did that happen?
I was taking the trash out, and the
like any other day.
Yeah, and then someone was There's been a lot of activity around the property, and meaning like people coming to scope it out, because Joyce Essex listed the house on the New York Times, and so there's this one person who I don't know who he is, but he was
got a black
with an
minivan.
iPad, yeah, and was taking a video of me taking the trash out.
Oh, that was the car with him, right?
Yeah, and so I felt like that was really invasive, and I stepped backwards, and upon stepping backwards, my feet went through a hole in the floor, which was like about 14-foot drop into the basement.
Instantaneously fell.
Yeah, and while I was holding all the trash. And
nobody saw you go down, even though I was up top.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it either. I mean, I saw it on the camera, but no one was there to help you.
Yeah, it's hard to get.
You were stuck there for at least 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pulled myself up immediately, but that must have been the adrenaline. And then I was stuck on the floor there for many hours. Seems like.
No, like 40 minutes.
Oh.
From the camera, and then yeah.
We held.
Sorry, I mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. Exacerbated disability conditions of narcolepsy, huh?
Speak up. It's up there.
Exacerbate disability conditions of bipolar disorder 2. We hold actual possession at the time of the forcible entry complained of, and an entitlement to possession pursuant to the doctrine.
You've already seen that I'm. Me, personality, up, down, back, forth. It's not exactly like a fun thing for me either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And then entitlement to possession pursuant to the doctrine of adverse possession, section 325, and evidenced by the notice of intent to preserve interest.
And why did we even have an adverse possession?
The affidavit for assessment role by the possessors as assessee pursuant to 610B3 of the Revenue and Tax Code.
610B3 is a good thing.
And the improvements developed on the land as well as meeting the elements of adverse possession of being open, exclusive, adverse, constructive notice.
And why did we do that? We chose to on this house. We researched it.
Yeah.
This house in particular.
Mm-hmm.
We researched it severely
Mm-hmm.
because this house has Ellis Act on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we read it, we were like, damn, nobody can do anything to it. It's stuck.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's like that. That's why
Yes.
Dion told us that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Dion Neutra is the person who gave us a little bit of hint.
Yeah. Yeah, because some mortgage realtor of some sort thought it'd be a good idea to evict a tenant who had once lived here and
And the place had gotten stuck in a bunch of,
withdraw it from the market. Yeah.
and it got stuck in a position in which the house couldn't go forward, couldn't go backward, couldn't be sold to anything but an owner, and it was always sold to a finance investment firm, but he can't because it's a Ellis acted house. It's got a REAP status. That means he has to have tenant habitability, and the tenant habitability plan has to be enacted and it has to be approved by Bureau of Engineers and blah blah blah. And to go forward, you'd have to have a general managers meeting that would even allow you to get a permit on the house
because you're heavily in REAP.
because you're heavily in REAP, and so you can't get any form of permit on this house at all. And so to buy the house would be insanity, and no insurance or title insurance company would allow you to, because they're not allowed to, because
they would not be able to insure them.
Yeah, because they're publicly traded SEC private pooled investment fund.
And the securities are packaged together and rated.
Yeah,
They got bad
so they can't like take on a risk that they knowingly have participating in that they're not allowed to unless you defraud them, right? So to take out a mortgage on this place would be crazy because the title insurer would have to believe that you've gotten it assessed and approved and that the work you're doing for construction, I mean, to have a construction loan for private money lending on a house in REAP is absurd. The lender must be a fucking stupid as fuck because they have just broken the city's ordinances and laws to take out a loan against the federally backed money.
It's like
right? It's like
it's a loan of value of like over 100%.
But I mean, it's private money lending, but it's a pooled investment fund.
Yeah.
So they're responsible for the pooled investment fund. So is that because it's backed by something? It's 50 million to 100 million at a time. It's 50, it's 25 to 50 million at a time.
Yeah, because who ultimately gets defrauded in this?
They don't list who their investors are though.
Yeah.
But they're investors
because they file late.
And there are only two people who are not allowed to be investors supposedly that they say who have purchased, who have ownership, right? But nobody makes any money on the transfers of mortgage sales that they have, right? So Form 6. What does it say?
It says no money was transferred.
No, that's not the one. Reported? What does Form 6 say?
Form 6
for lending home and landsman.
I had it here. I'm not exactly. It was I'll put.
There's a Form 50. There's a Form 6. There's a Form F. There's a Form
this A B 1 6. All right, Form 6. Form 6 is the SEC and advice. Define it. Through SEC Form 6K, it's called 6K.
Yeah, 6K filing.
A foreign private issuer provides communications and material information that is made public in its home country, filed with and made public with its country stock. The SEC Form 6K is a form that foreign private issuers of securities are required to submit pursuant to stated rules in the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. The form, damn, it's sick. Where's the lab app? Damn, I should just go practice. He's saying, key takeaways. SEC Form 6K is required as a cover page for foreign issuers filing reports such as annual financial reports with the SEC. The purpose of SEC Form 6K is that it relieves the burden of dual reporting for certain non-U.S. issuers.
Yeah, sorry. We have to take a 2-second hiatus, people who don't give a shit while we're streaming, to answer our friend Daniel about where our amplifier is and where our Japanese cabinet is.
Yeah.
Can you want to tell?
Oh.
I can look on the computer.
No.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking here. The Tansu's huge. As far as I'm concerned, right?
I'm sure you could break, it breaks down.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
Oh yeah, it's pieces,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But we also want to get a water bed that's in. So we have like, and there's another Tansu. Remember? So there's there's two Tansus. Remember? I responded to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're both affordable as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
They're like usually
Yeah, they're super outrageously
Like-
expensive usually.
one would be like a couple of grand, if not $5, and the other's like at least $500 a piece usually. I think this is like $250 for both Tansu pieces, and the other one was $275 for the whole stairs.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's like
That would have solved a lot of my fucking dealings with wanting to fucking build chemistry.
And then the other one that was the kitchen one that I showed you, that was like $575.
Well, I mean, that's cool that you found the kitchen one.
Yeah.
And let's see, it is in Santa Monica.
This is embarrassing. Hello, world. Yeah, it stinks. Check it out. Anyway, by the way, I would like to remind the court that this is our court and Judge Bird is in contempt.
I did a lot of writing.
Yeah, we gotta hurry up.
So can I? Oh yeah, I guess I still had to
finish what you're saying.
What I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, I interrupted you because I'm
Mm-hmm.
a little bit rude. I'm sorry. Apologize.
No, it's almost done here. Well,
Speak of
it's not like fucking George Bird didn't fucking do it too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
This is exactly what we go through with you, you little bastard. You're bastard people. I'm gonna go home and bite my pillow.
Mhm.
So Corky Sinclair would say, you know, that's because he's an ex too. Corky Sinclair, Christopher Guest from This Is Spinal Tap. You know, he would say, "You're bastard people. I hate you. I'm gonna go home and bite my pillow."
All right, so here you go. A plaintiff is guilty of forcible detainer, section 1160, when they unlawfully enters by force, by menaces, and threats of violence using a. Oh, yeah, sorry. The plaintiff is guilty of forcible detainer,
Yeah,
section 1160, because they unlawfully entered by force and by menace and threats of violence using a crew of 13 immigrant labor workers like a gang to intimidate defendants from entering the property, using tractors and heavy machinery in a threatening manner, throwing rocks at defendants when watering the yard, etc., as we have explained in great detail today. They refused to surrender when defendants posted a third no trespassing letters quoting LMC 41.24 Penal Code 602L, authorizing the police to arrest the intruders. And then a forcible entry, section 1160, uses tractors in a threatening. They use tractors in a threatening manner to excavate the front yard, remove Mexican elderberry tree, a protected tree, and forms of a parking space upon the defendant's land, our land, and parks there every day, using COVID-19 as a bioagent of terror by colluding to cough in our face. See the exhibit videos. And they are guilty of impersonating a landlord because they post a notice to inspect premises as a landlord without identifying who they are. They are not our landlord at any time. Posted on the 20th. They did not have ownership until the 26th, and the title insurance was not actually valid, and basically the title is void. These claims are supported by the frauds that they commit. In relation to this house, we are prepared to show a crew of 3 to 25 people who use real property in Los Angeles to launder money, create money, evade taxes, and commit multiple types of fraud and depriving the community at large. With the U.S. trustee, bankruptcy fraud. With the IRS, ESRA, appraisal fraud, occupancy fraud, tax evasion, tax step fraud. With the CSLB, State Insurance Compensation Fund, workers' compensation fraud, construction defects, unlicensed contracting, willful intimidation, pool permit scheme, illegal permitting, unjust enrichment through encumbrances by non-contracted work. And then PPP loan fraud, SBA loan fraud. With the DRE, they have straw buyers, they're illegal property flippings, they are elderly disabled abuse.
Yeah, slow down and
and much, much more. And then for that one, I have to make that list longer. There's an EPA.
You have to what?
Make that list longer.
Well,
Identify the rest of them.
It has to be specific instances that you.
Oh yeah.
Because you're live right now, so anything you say, you're not really gonna be doing justice if you don't instance it.
Okay.
You see, you're on the internet live.
I understand.
Okay, well then be specific.
All right.
Because I don't want to feel like having to do this twice. Because I'm sick and tired of them embarrassing us.
So, as soon as our house was listed on the front page of the New York Times, we were inundated by harassment. And furthermore, we have not been heard on the matter of our demand for jury trial, and this was filed for well over a month. It was through the entire proceedings. We answered with a request for jury trial. Plaintiff lacks legal capacity to sue, and there's a defect, a misjoinder of the parties pursuant to section 430.10. No subject matter jurisdiction, failure to state a cause of action, failure to allege rent control, another action is pending, all pursuant to section 430.10 C, B, of the Civil Code Procedure. Okay, those are mine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything? You gotta explain what the hell you're trying to tell.
Basically, so the plaintiff files these things called a trial note, trial brief, and in it, Peter Wadinsky writes, who is not the attorney, never filed a substitution for attorney for the defendants. I mean the plaintiffs. Sorry. And he makes a statement saying that there are only two affirmative defenses that are recognized for a forcible detainer action, and the second one being that the plaintiff needs to show that they were in actual peaceable possession, and on the day of trial, if the defendant can show that they were in peaceable possession from 1 year prior to the date, then it is a bar to the proceedings.
Exactly.
Over and over and over and over again on the day of trial, we have presented evidence and testimonies and declarations.
He says that there's only two reasons that they can keep that we can keep the house, or that they can keep the house, whatever you want to say. And that's the logic they're using as our logic. They're literally trying to take our logic and use it as their logic. How's that one? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
He says that only these two instances can.
Pursuant to section 1172.
So what the fuck are they talking about? They never had this house ever.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah. They try to apply it to themselves as landlord. Yeah, it makes no sense because
they're trying to declare it's been a year since they've been trying to rob the house.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I think so. I'm not sure.
It hasn't actually been a year since they began forcibly entering 1968. So if they were going to use that logic too, that would even fail, because 1968 isn't even entered into until late December of 2020 as a false living building, a building without a certificate of occupancy. We know the day they moved the people in to the T, because we have the utilities in our name. We have the cameras on the building at all time. They put cameras on us on our own building. So the threats that they say that we took down the cameras, that's cameras on our own house.
Pointed at my
our bathroom. In our bathroom. Like pointed into our bathroom. On our own building. They put cameras, multiple fucking cameras on our building. Are you fucking insane? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see the resolution that shows who took those down.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty damn sure your resolution is so great that you will see that we personally disarm our own house of being violated by its literal invasion of our actual bathroom's privacy for decency. You would be looking into a woman's bathroom who is going through pregnancy. It's indecent. So, however,
There's no reasonable expectation of privacy.
the judge wants to believe they're doing any sort of justice, you've already violated every one of our rights by allowing this to continue.
Yeah. All this time.
Because the first filing with Cholera S. Pinder, where my name was not Mr. Siding Glance, Mr. Cholera S. Pinder, you sexist, fake, woman supporting judge who uses his wife's candor of certain charity dinners to supposedly empower himself as a person of female support. You are literally as ignorant as Bird is in failing to be aware of a language that's over 4 years old. You know, you do not call people with a driver's license. No, I'm staying on this one. X. Because that's my prima facie document that shows our location of our home at all times. If you can't notice that on there, my name says X under gender, and that my house says my address on both locations, 1968 and 1410 Ewing, and that my date on my prima facie document is from 2019 November and December, then you are absolutely a terrible judge who cannot do his job because you're not even standing behind the code of California, court for current rights on gender bias. That to me.
Well, yeah, specifically for Bird.
No, actually for Cholera.
Well, yeah, both.
And Bird, they both do the same exact thing. So Cholera ignores prima facie documents. Bird ignores prima facie document with our house and wastes the taxpayers' money.
Like the court has supervisory powers to make its own motions to dismiss cases where there is no.
And there's a general order to this whole thing, and so we've been here for 5
COVID
fucking years. It's bullshit. We have letters from all of our neighbors, every single neighbor,
utility bills.
Except for the guy who steals our ring and tries to defraud us, David Ford Allen, who specifically has a police report against him for stealing a Ring camera. And then we end up with the Ring camera back from some guy named Mike, who it turns out works for Richard Judson Williams, the husband of Chenny Shapiro, who's stealing our title, with the screws removed. And then he pretends to be our friend and acts as though he's, impartial. Meanwhile, gaining our trust, basically trying to break into our house. And then we find in video footage other men trying to break into our house, which you'll see this video is connected to a video right before it where someone's trying to break in from the outside while I go on a walk to shoot the stop order of this house. We've been trying to get a restraining order on Judd this whole time, and les pendants properly noted, and our preservation of interest properly recognized by the court.
This video is of the...
Sorry.
Yeah, play it. Hold it up to the camera.
Yeah.
You'll see this one noted in a moment. We're tired of this.
Yeah.
Tired of being threatened. We've had our house window shot out. I mean, I can go and show you a window that has BB torn through it at the moment from being shot. We have a bird that was killed in our house from a BB gun from someone shooting it from outside, and a finch. And then we have over 11 BBs through our windows. And I was in the bathroom once and had a BB come through. And that's when I knew that we were actually being shot by BBs, because I didn't even believe it at first. I just thought my wife was crazy.
Okay, so start. So this video is of someone trying to break into our house, or...
Sorry. Go on.
Probably have to raise him. Thanks.
Sorry.
do something, we're not sure. But on this date, November 16th, 2020, we had already had a stop order that was issued to us by CSLB and LADBS on Richard Judson. So we blew it up to the size of 8 feet by 4 feet. And that's what this is here. Now I'm filming from a range of 300 yards approximately, which is across the canyon, and I'll show you in a moment. But if I play this video, you see a person in a blue shirt who is between the floors, not on the top floor, not on the bottom floor, and they're trying to look in through a crack or through our electrical area or into the crawl space of the house in particular.
Oops, right there. Play. Play it.
Right over here, they're wearing a light blue shirt and a darker pair of pants. So it was just by chance I noticed this. Stop moving, Jacko. Don't zoom out.
Okay.
Please stop moving.
There's more to it.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of the video.
So this video is
Once
of
again.
the
Just don't move your
Okay,
finger.
okay.
I don't know.
someone trying to break into our house or do something, we're not sure. But on this date, November 16th, 2020, we
Trying to
had
break
already
in,
had a stop
obviously.
order that was issued to us by CSLB and LADBS on Richard Judson. So we blew it up to the size of 8 feet by 4
I can't
feet.
see this,
And that's
but
what
you
this
can.
is here. Now I'm filming from a range of 300 yards approximately, which is
I
across
didn't
the
see this.
canyon,
I'm
and I'll
just
show you in a
shooting,
moment.
'cause I'm trying
But
to
if I play this video, you see a person in a blue shirt who is between the floors,
So
not on
where
the
I
top
pointed
floor,
at
not on
my
the bottom
house.
floor, and they're trying to look in through a crack or through our electrical area or into the crawl space of the house in
And who the
particular.
fuck are they?
Right over here, they're wearing a light blue shirt and a darker pair of pants. So it was just
And
by
my wife's
chance I
home
noticed
alone.
this.
At this point, which is scary. 'Cause
Stop moving, Jacko.
they don't think
Don't zoom
it's
out.
there.
Okay.
Please stop moving.
Or we don't know what they think, to be honest. Because the thing is,
All right, this video is
shouldn't
of
be
the
in danger.
stop
She's
order on
narcoleptic,
November 16th.
passes out and merges daydreaming in reality all the time.
Okay, so it
And
started
she could
again.
be raped easily by a person in this house who's like intruding and taking advantage of her being passed out and not knowing what's going on, whether it's reality or not. That's unfortunately the thing we live with, is that these safety things shouldn't be a concern because our house isn't being breached by people breaking in illegally. Right? It's dangerous. It's retarded. And the fear that puts us in, it's absolutely it's unconscionable. And for a year and a half, 2 years now, every day, day in and day out, this contracting and construction hasn't ended. It's like fucking never fucking ending. Now they have these fucking bastard people, pardon me, but they are stylists.
And they write their own
Supposedly,
articles.
Who write their own articles
on
how they work for Rihanna. Well, if you work for Rihanna, then why don't you pay your fucking rent to us that you owe us?
Yeah, or the
You
water
owe us
bill.
a year's worth of rent and water bill, you fucking dickheads.
And the electrical bill that you energized on a stop order.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is ridiculous. Our equity, our property, our real estate, our development, our home. And it only has been offered up to Catalonia, the country, as a consular and as a nonprofit to the community and a park to the neighborhood, because we live in the middle of the best bird sanctuary the city has seen since 1920. We have hummingbirds that come and go inside and outside who live here in our house, getting fed zoo level food called Nectar Plus. No other place in the world serves Nectar Plus to birds out of hummingbird feeders on a daily basis, except for zoos.
Yeah, we're wildlife conservation.
We're a wildlife restoration and habitat and reparations facility for hummingbirds, parrots, and owls, and specifically hawks too now, because we've got 3 hawks chilling in our tree. Literally about 5 feet away from me is a hawk who's really annoyed that I'm talking this loud. But I'm really annoyed that he's gone making seagull sounds all day.
Right on. Deep words of wisdom with Mr. Sighting Glance from Daniel.
What did I say?
Daniel actually says about Mr. Sighting Glance. You know, Daniel says, "What's up?"
Oh, hey.
and saying those were deep words of wisdom.
What did I say?
What your rant about Mr. Sighting Glance?
Oh.
Hey, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
um,